What's up, everybody? It's Trading Gas Money here. Quick video. I just want to talk about 3 things that can help you decide when to take a trade or what to do when deciding which trade to take. And before you take any trade, the number one thing is you always want to confirm that the setup is there. If you follow me for a while, or if you've been mentored by me, you know that I only focus on the cup and handle pattern. Some people do rising wedge, some people do falling wedge, some people do flags. Everybody trades different, but my edge that I found is just trading simple cup and handle patterns. And it has worked for me. As you can see here, I would look at this chart and I would look at that and consider that like a cup kind of forming here, right? I don't have the time to draw it out, but if it's kind of like a U shape, right? So you see, you have the stock kind of coming off that rise. Then if it's a U, it's kind of just coming down, right? And then you have that period where it's trading sideways, which is that bottom of the U, which is where my thumbs are. That's that consolidation. So when I start seeing that U popping up, that's letting me know that there's a cup and handle forming. So I really want to get in somewhere around where this consolidation is happening, ride it up with the potential to probably pop the previous resistance. So I look for those in different time frames, and that's how I decide to kind of take entry in some of the trades that I take. THAR was a perfect example of that in real time. I think I made like 5K on THAR today, based on that same pattern that I was looking for. I believe I made profits somewhere when the stock was around like 720 something is when I bought it. So I'd probably have to go to a smaller time frame to show you. It was somewhere around here, I believe, is when I bought. No, it was around here. This is it right here. So as you can see, the stock popped to 908. It kind of pulled back here, and then you kind of had that. Let's see if I could find like a pencil or something. I never really draw on these things like that, but if I can find a pencil, it'll be helpful. Nope. I don't want to waste too much time. I can't find a pencil, but you can see it right here, right? The stock ran up, it pulled back and sold off. Then that U pattern started showing up. Well, I'm starting to see the U. So I see the U here and I buy in this candle here. And then you see these bright green candles. They're very aggressive buying. And I sold on the ride up. It eventually sold off, kind of picked back up, and then actually ran. Oh, no, it didn't run again. I actually got out of it right at that pop in this candle here, somewhere in the 8s. Which allowed me to make about a 5K gain. I think I had like 4,000 something shares, and I ended up selling it. So the way I look at it is the same way, right? I am trying to identify these type of U-shaped patterns. Obviously, this one didn't go and retest the high of day, but I am looking for that particular setup every trade. And if I see that, I would take the trade. For example, I think we saw it on open on the 1 hour a while back. Like here's another example of that U. You can see it's a U forming, and then the U happened and open ended up breaking that all-time high right there. It turned out to be an incredible gain. So I'm constantly looking for the right setup. My setup is the cup and handle pattern. You find your edge in what you're good at based on experience. And I'm looking for confirmations. Now, I have my systems where I use buy and sell signals. I use moving averages. I do have TTM squeeze on my screen. Sometimes, majority of the time, I'm not even really using it. I probably should take it off. But it helps when sometimes I may be taking some trades and I may be losing. Then sometimes I look at TTM squeeze and be like, where are we in this? So definitely cup and handle patterns are my thing. If you don't know about those, read those. You have the buy and sell signals, which help me with confirmation on that. I think on THAR, which I'll go back to that again. I believe I had a buy signal on that trade because I was watching it on the 1 minute at that time. So if we look here, as you can see on the 1 minute, it's pretty much cleaner, right? Sell signal came, so I'm waiting. I buy somewhere around 727. The buy signal hit. I see aggressive candles, which gives me confirmation to kind of stay in the trade. And I sell into this pop in the 8s, and it kind of fades back down. And yes, I was correct. It did pop up again to like 903, but it kind of just faded. But I sold like 820 something, like for a little bit below the 820s, and it ended up running another $1, but I was already out of the trade. So as you can see, that U kind of formed, and I just hit it right before the buy signal hit, and I just took off and I capitalized on that short term. Now this trade is a little bit different because it was kind of like an intraday runner. It had a lot of volume already going for it. So because it had so much volume, I kind of was just playing the volume trade. But what I recommend for you if you're new is obviously cup and handle pattern, and then any stock that is moving like this one, like THAR, I already knew about it because I've seen it run earlier in the week. So any stock that is moving like that, you always want to verify why it is moving. And it's important to do that if you want to make sure that, hold on, I'm trying to find my tabs here. You want to do that if you want to make sure, because you want to know why the stock is running. Usually if a stock is running for no reason, it could be a pump and dump, which increases your risk of actually, it increases your risk of losing. So you want to try to minimize risk as much as possible, because your main job as a day trader is to be a risk manager. So really we're just managing risk and we're attacking by executing trades, but we're really managing risk throughout the trade. That's our main objective, is to manage risk, protect capital, and not lose money. The goal of a trader is not to lose money as much as you can, but if you do lose money, it depends on how you lose money. I'll make a whole nother separate video about how to lose money. So moving along, I would see a stock like THAR, right? I would verify. I'll be like, all right, why is THAR running? Now, I remember this stock from a few days ago. It had some news. I'll verify the float. If the float is like 20 million or less, 10 million or less, I can determine if the stock is going to run a little bit more. And I'll make another video about share structure, but I'll verify the float. For me, if you want something good, that's a good day trade that could probably move multiple dollars. You want something like 20 million or less for the shares outstanding. And of course, anything less than the 20 million in the float is great. This changes based on stock. Like for example, obviously we traded Open, we traded GoPro. Like these share structures are going to be a little bit different, but there's different reasons why. As you can see, here goes the U pattern. See that U right there on Open, and I'm trading that every time. That's my pattern. That's what I focus on. Shorts have a different pattern they focus on, so every trader trades different. So I trade cup and handle. So I will go back to THAR, right? Because that was an intraday trade, right? I swung Open a couple of times and had a few intraday trades, so those were good. I remember it had news about fentanyl. It looks like they had news today, right? I didn't even know it had news today. I thought it was running on no news. So it says, Theramun reports pharmacokinetic simulation results from TH104 as a prophylaxis against respiratory depression from fentanyl. So this is big because fentanyl is an epidemic, at least from what I know and see on the news. So if they found a drug that, that's currently available as a rescue medication, this could be really good. I remember they said they had recent positive feedback earlier this year from the FDA confirming that no additional clinical trials was necessary. So who knows? Maybe the drug gets FDA approved. I don't know. Maybe the drug gets bought out by a bigger company. I don't know. It's something to watch. So that lets me know, okay, I like the news. I think the market likes the news. That's why it's been running so much. So I'm going to follow the stock or take a trade in the stock or maybe hold it a little bit longer. So you want to make sure you got the setup. You want to make sure that you got that the stock has news. Because for example, like INHD was a runner today. but it had no news. So even though it ran, first of all, it's in Hong Kong, so most of these stocks are pump and dumps, and it had no news. There was no recent news here. The last news was May 12th. This is promo news. So it makes me a little bit skeptical to trade it. Yeah, it has a good share structure and everything, but it makes me skeptical to trade it. So I don't really like taking trades like that. I may not take that trade. I may pass on it. Yeah, I might lose money, but I'll pass on it because it just doesn't fit my conditions of what works for me. So I'm going cup and handle, checking the stock if it has news, making sure the setup is there, confirming entry, right? And then just making sure you have a trade plan. So I had a trade plan. I wanted to trade the breakout or the upside on THAR. And I got in at 727 and I ended up getting $1 on that move. The high was 903. I could have held it to the high. I decided to start exiting on my way up. And I just decided to take the profit since it was a nice game, right? 5K, that's a good game. Who doesn't want 5K? You'll take it every time. So those are my 3 things that I think can help you as a trader. Number 1 is confirm setup. Number 2 is, make sure that the chart or whatever stock you're watching actually has a reason, a catalyst why it's moving. Because if it has no catalyst, that move could be short-lived. But if it has a catalyst, the momentum of the catalyst can carry the stock to run for multiple days, kind of like what we're seeing with THR, where it's running multiple days, not just one. Lastly, like I said, I'm talking on the top of my head. Sorry, guys. Catalyst, trade plan. Make sure you have a trade plan. So you got your catalyst. You got your setup, which is cup and handle. You got your catalyst, which is why the stock is moving, confirm the stock is moving. Number 3, you want to make sure you calculate the risk to reward ratio by having a trade plan. I'm entering at 727. I'm getting out at 750. If the trade goes against me, I'm getting out at $7. So your trade plan is most important because that's where you're being a risk manager, right? Once you enter the trade, you're now a risk manager. What is the plan? How do we manage risks? We're managing risk by taking profits on the way up, and we're cutting losses as soon as the trade goes against us. I am an aggressive loss cutter. That's why I have a very high losing percentage, but my losing percentage is like 61% point something. I think my winning percentage is like 38 point something percent. So I lose more than I win, but I'm just as profitable as some of the best traders who have a 70%. I think they just maybe take different setups. Their setups that they take are a little bit better than mine. So you might see, or I won't say better than mine, but they know how to execute better on their setups and they have higher probability of winning on those setups. I trade cup and handle. That's my setup. It's what I'm good at. It's what I like, and it works for me. So I'm not complaining. So setup, risk reward, catalyst environment, and make sure you have that trade plan. Trading gas money. I am out of here. Subscribe to the channel if you want more.